Welcome to Orlone in medieval France. I'm Mike, and today we're going to be building, trading, and dodging the plague. Will we win big? Let's find out. Here we go. Welcome to Orlone. It is medieval France, and we're going to do our best to have ourselves a good old time here. Now, Orlone is a bag builder. And what that means is that through the course of the game, you're going to be filling up your bag with various workers that are available. And on your turn, you will draw into this bag a certain number of those workers, and then you'll use them to take various actions. So throughout the game, you're trying to be strategic about how you're building this bag up, having the right type of workers available to you so that you can take the actions that you want to take. Now, the way you're going to score points in this game is by acquiring all of these goods that you see sprinkled all over the map here. There are 5 types of goods, and they're all shown right here, and they range in points from 5 points all the way up to 1 point. And so at the end of the game, the number of goods that you've acquired is going to be a significant source of points. But another source of points is trying to get your trading stations placed out onto the map here. So as you're traveling around, you're going to be collecting the goods that are here, and you're going to be trying to build those trading stations along the way. Then, at the very end of the game, you'll take the number of trading stations plus the number of these citizens that you have collected, and you're going to multiply that number times where you are at on this track down here. So you'll see that in action. It'll make sense. But the big takeaway here is you want to be collecting these goods, and there are certain ways that you can manufacture some on your own, but you're trying to get all these goods, and then you are looking the entire game for ways that you can get these citizens, and they are sprinkled all over, and build trading stations throughout the countryside. Now, before we get going here, there are just a couple of component things that I wanted to show you real quick. First off, the game comes with cardboard coins. I've swapped those out for some metal coins. The other thing is that these tokens here, the game comes with these cardboard tokens, and they're fine. They're actually pretty nice. They're a nice thick cardboard. But Board Game Geek makes these plastic Geek Up bit sets, and they're a really nice and fun upgrade. They're definitely not necessary, but I really like them, and so you'll see these all the different workers have been swapped out with that. So just know it's not part of the base game. It's just an upgrade that I enjoyed. The other change to this configuration is this is all of the base game except for this beneficial deeds board here. That board comes from the expansion called Trade and Intrigue, and this expansion has a few different modules that are in it, and for the most part we're not going to see most of those, but the Trade and Intrigue expansion swaps out this board here, which is fine, but it's not the most interesting board to interact with. And the Trade and Intrigue beneficial deeds board, I think, has some more interesting things going on with it. I think it's a little bit more fun to play with. So the other thing is there's just a couple of buildings that the Trade and Intrigue expansion also includes. So those are mixed into there. But the primary difference is this beneficial deeds board. Other than that, what we're looking at here is the base game. Now, the game is going to take place over the course of 18 rounds, and those rounds are tracked by this stack of event tiles. At the beginning of each round, a new event will come out. We'll get to see what it is, and then we'll have the entire round to plan for and prepare for whatever that event is. And then at the end of the round, we'll resolve what that event is, and then we will move into the next round. Now you'll notice the back of this event tile has a slightly different color than the rest of them. That is because at the start of every game, you're going to have the same event come out. And that event is Pilgrimage. And unlike most events, Pilgrimage does not resolve at the end of the round. This is actually an ongoing effect that will take place for the entire round. Pilgrimage means that we cannot acquire any monks during round one. Monks are a wild type of worker. They can be assigned anywhere. So for the very first round of each game, you can't get a hold of monks. The next step in a round is what's called the census. And you take a look at this track right here. And whoever is furthest along on this track will gain 1 coin. Whoever is the furthest behind actually has to pay 1 coin. Unless you're playing a 2-player game. In a 2-player game, whoever's in the lead will gain 1 coin, and the other person does not need to pay the coin for being behind. And if you are both on the same space, then nobody gains a coin. So in this case, we're tied. Nobody gets a coin. So now we move into phase 3, which is followers. And in this phase, this is where we will draw tiles from this bag here. Now this track right here shows you how many tiles you get to draw, or how many followers you draw out of your bag. At the start of the game, we're sitting here at the 4 spot, so to begin with, we get to draw 4 followers out of our bag. Now you'll notice that we have 4 followers to start with. In fact, we have the same starting workers or followers. So at the very beginning of the game, for the very first round, you don't actually do this step where you draw anything out, because we start with these 4, we have a draw limit of 4, so they're just automatically drawn and ready to go. But in future rounds, this is where we'll draw out what's owed to us, and then we can assign them to where we want to take our actions. Now you'll notice our player board is filled with various places, like the castle or the farmhouse or the university. And each one of these places has spots for particular types of workers. So for example, if I wanted to use the farmhouse, I would need to assign a boatsman and a craftsman there. Now during this phase, you're going to assign all of your workers to all of the places that you would like to activate. Then once everyone has assigned, they're all doing this simultaneously. Once we've all assigned our workers, then we'll go in turn order back and forth, resolving one place at a time. Looking at what we have here, I think I want to do the castle as our first action. So I'm going to assign these workers just like that, and we'll leave our craftsman behind. Now I could assign this to another slot, and that's fine. It will just stay there. In fact, after you assign somebody to a location, you cannot voluntarily bring them back. And so because of that, there's no point in placing him out somewhere. We have plenty of room for followers to show up. So we'll just leave him here for now, and he'll be ready to go for next round. But I'm thinking the castle, because when we go here, that's going to get us a knight. And you can see the guild hall, the wagon, and the ship, they all take a knight. And the guild hall action is the action you'll take to be able to put out a trading station onto the map. And as we said earlier, that's a key ingredient when it comes to scoring points. In addition, the wagon and the ship actions are how we'll travel on the map. So all 3 of these are very important, and they all take a knight, and we don't start with a knight. So I'm thinking we start out at the castle, and that'll get us a knight. And with our actions locked in, we move to our opponent. And today, of course, we're playing against the Yeti. And it looks like the Yeti is going to take a trip to the village. And now that we're both locked in, we will take our actions in turn order. So for us, we're going to go to the castle. So you will take your workers off of that space, add them back into your bag. And now the castle is right here. First thing you do is you grab the worker that location will give you, and that gets added into your bag. And then you'll advance on that track. So we'll slide up, and now our draw limit is 5. So we'll be able to get 5 followers out of our bag. The Yeti, of course, is going to the village. You'll notice there are 3 options when you go to the village. And you can choose whichever one of those you would like. You can select a boatman, a craftsman, or a trader. And it looks like Yeti is going with a trader. So he will grab this and add it into his bag. Along with the followers that gave him the action. And then for this track here, he'll advance. And the trader is how you get to build these additional locations. Your very first stop, you can choose from the level 1 stack. And then from there on, you can choose from either the level 1 or the level 2. So he's going to grab the level 1 stack. And he's going to go with the tailor shop. Now these buildings give you new locations for placing out workers. Like the tailor shop here, he can put a couple workers down and it will get him a brocade. Some of them also give you special abilities, like the sacristy. This one here says that you can ignore all the effects of any events that come out that you don't like. So he's going with the tailor shop. And that completes the first round. At this point, if there was an event to resolve, it would go off right now. But again, we saw this pilgrimage, so we're good there. Next, you'll pass the start player marker to the next player. This will rotate every round. And then we go to the top of the order. First thing we'll do is reveal the next event. And this one is an income. And this event is actually a positive one. For this one, we will gain coins equal to where we are at on this track right here. This track is known as your development status. And at the start of the game, you're known to have a development status of 1. So at the end of this round, we'll each get coins depending on where we're at with our development. Next is the census. There's no change there, so no coins are given out. And then we move on to drawing. And remember, we are now drawing 5. Which is no problem because we only currently have 4 in our bag. So we'll get all of these back. The Yeti is drawing 4, and of course he only has 3 in his bag, so he'll get all of those back as well. I'm sorry, he's got 4 in there. Well, I say we put our new knight to good use. Let's build a trading station using the guild hall action. Now we've got these 2 that we could pre-program, but again, we've got plenty of space. So I'm just going to let those cook there for now. And the Yeti is going to go back to the village. And he is up first for actions, so he will resolve the village. And his action this time is going to be a craftsman. I'll take one of those. he advances here, and Craftsman give you a technology wheel. And a technology wheel allows you to cover up a worker spot out on your board, and you no longer need to use a worker in that place to be able to fulfill this action. So, say for example, he covered that up, he would only ever need to send one of these guys to activate that space. Now, the board reminds you that the very first technology wheel you gather has to go onto a spot that covers up a farmer. One other rule is technology wheels can never cover up a spot that requires a monk. So no monks. The first one goes on a farmer. And so you can place this technology wheel up off to the side. You can leave it there, and that will remain there. You cannot actually add it to your board until you have passed for the round. So he'll keep that there. Now to us, we're going to do the guild hall action. So these will go back into our bag. And this, as I said, is how we will build trading stations out onto the main board. So we'll take this, and we will simply add it to the city that our merchant is currently located. Now, normally, every city can only hold one trading station, so it's first come, first served. Except for Orlone, which is where we all start. This one, everybody can place one of their trading stations down in. So we've got one down there. We're good to go. With our action done, it's back to the Yeti, and of course, he needs to pass. He's got no more actions queued up. Now that he's passed, he can go ahead and put his technology to good use. And he is going to cover up this farmer right there, making it easier for him to place out guild halls now for the rest of the game. On to us, we're out of actions, so we pass as well. So now we move over to the event phase. We're each going to gain 1 coin because we are both at a development status of 1. Start player token passes. Into the next round. And this event is taxes. Don't you love to see that? Now for this one, it's actually not a bad time for this to come out. At the end of this round, for every 3 goods that we currently possess, we'll need to pay 1 coin. And currently, nobody has any goods, so no one's paying any taxes. But if we acquire goods throughout this round, for every 3 of them, we'll need to pay a coin. No change on the census track, so now we go to drawing followers. Well, we have enough workers this round that I think we can queue up a couple of actions. And we just placed out a trading house or station in Orlone. So let's get our merchant a-traveling, and we will queue up the wagon action. And that will leave us with enough left over to also visit the farmhouse. So I think we'll do that. And the Yeti is going to go back to the village. So for our first action, I think we'll move the wagon here. So these will come off. And you'll notice there are roads and there are rivers. That is the difference between taking the wagon action and the ship action. Wagon for roads, ship for the rivers. So with our wagon action, we will move along this road right here. You know what? Actually, I'll lay those down. It's probably a little bit easier to tell those apart from the trading stations. And anytime you cross over a good, you get to collect that good. So we will get this wool, and we can leave that there. Now it's to the Yeti, and he is going to the village. And it looks like he is going to take another craftsman, which of course is going to give him another technology wheel. That's back to us. We can take our second action. We will go to the farmhouse. Which of course will give us another farmer and one advancement on this track here. When you advance, you'll notice there are these goods that are listed above each space. You get to collect the good of the space you've just landed in. So in this case, we will get a grain. And the Yeti is out of actions, so he must pass, which means he gets to place his technology wheel out, and he's going to place it into the tailor shop here. That's going to make it very easy for him to activate the tailor shop and start collecting some brocades. Back to us. We are also out of actions, so we pass as well. Which means it's event time and it's tax season. And here we are. We have just narrowly avoided paying any taxes. We only have 2 goods, so we don't have to worry about it. The Yeti has no goods, so nobody, yay, has to pay taxes this time around. On to the next round. And this event is a harvest. Now, when a harvest comes out at the end of the round, you have to pay 1 food good, either a grain, a cheese, or a wine. If you do not have a food good, you have to pay 5 coins. If you cannot pay the coins, then you undergo what the game calls torture. And it is it is a little torturous. For everything that you can't pay that you're owed, you would have to give up one of several things. It could be a trading station that you have out on the board. It could be a follower, and that one you would draw it randomly from your bag. It could be a development point. It could be goods tiles that you have on hand. It could be a place tile, like what the Yeti has here. Or it could actually be a technology tile, like what is in place there. So every one of those are pretty painful, and you don't want to have to do that. So there's a great example of you have a round now to sort of prepare for this event. You want to make sure that you can cover that event. Now, we lucked out a little bit, and in our last round, we grabbed ourselves a grain by advancing on that track. So we'll be all set. We can pay that. Yeti's probably going to need to do some planning. Otherwise, he's going to have to give up 5 coins, which is essentially giving up 5 victory points. And now on to the census, and that's our other benefit for advancing on this track. We are now in the lead here, so we will gain 1 coin. And now we draw our followers. The Yeti is still at 4, and we are at 5. And of course, he only has 4 in his bag, so he's fine to draw all of them. Now, I believe we have 6 followers in here, and our draw limit is 5. So, for the first time in the game, we will not see the entire contents of our bag. And Yeti is up first. It's no surprise to see him take advantage of his very cheap to activate tailor shop. And it looks like he's going to begin preparing for that harvest by working the farmhouse. And with what he has left, he can queue up the university as well. We did not draw our craftsman, the brown follower, which limits a handful of things. I actually wanted to go to the university, and I wanted to build a guild hall now that we're in a new city. But all of these options and that one are out for right now. So I think we will go to the castle again. That way we can get another night and should be able to activate these more often, as well as increase the amount of followers that we can draw from the bag. On to the actions. Yeti is up first, and he is going to visit the farmhouse, which will get him a farmer. And of course, advance him along the track, getting him a grain, which probably won't last him very long. But hey, he's all set for the harvest. And we'll visit the castle like we planned, which will get us another night. And now we're up to drawing 6 followers out of the bag. Now Yeti will go to the university. Which will get him a scholar right here. And in addition to the scholar, he will advance on this track, which will give him 2 advancements on the development track. And of course, we don't have anyone else queued up, so we have to pass. The Yeti has got 1 final worker left in the tailor shop, which will get him a brocade. We have passed already. The Yeti is out of actions as well, so he passes. So into the event, which is our harvest, we're going to each need to give up 1 food good, and we both have a grain on hand. So those are gone. We both avoid torture and move into the next round. This event is a pilgrimage. Okay, so once again, we will not be able to acquire any monks. We will not be able to go to the monastery this time around. And with our draw limit set at 6, oh, actually we only had 5 in the bag there, so we got everybody out. The Yeti is still drawing 4. In all of our followers, we only have 1 craftsman, which is limiting a little bit of what I want to do this time around, because I would like to build a trading station where we are, but I also really want to go to the village. So what I think we'll do is we'll queue up the village here, and then I hate to leave an empty city behind, but I think we're going to go ahead and keep our wagon a-rolling so that we can get a couple actions done. And what I really want is to start getting some technology wheels as well to make some automation, or make things a little bit easier for us. And that'll also give us another craftsman along the way. And there should be plenty of other stops that we can get all of our trading stations out. So that's what I'm thinking. Yeti got kind of a rough draw to work with. He's got a lot of craftsmen, which isn't going to give him very many options. But what he can do is go to the university. And then because his draw limit is currently at 4, which is, I think, probably where he would like to go, increase his draw limit and get some knights involved in his actions. But since his draw limit is at 4, he's going to commit one of his craftsmen up to the guild hall just to get it out of the way and help him be able to draw some other followers along the way. And for our first action, we'll go ahead and roll out the wagon. And let's move over to here. That'll let us collect this brocade. And just a reminder that brocades are worth 5 points at the end of the game. They're the most valuable good that we can get. The Yeti, with his only action he has queued, will go to the university. Which will get him another scholar and another advancement here, which is going to give him 3 more development points, which, now that he's reached this space right here, he gets to collect this citizen tile. All right, now we can visit the village. And at the village, I think we're going to hire a craftsman. That's going to let us advance there, which will give us a technology wheel. Place that out there, and then these will all go back into the bag. The Yeti is out of actions, so he passes. We are out of actions, so we pass, so we'll get to place out our technology. It's got to go on a farmer space, being our first wheel. I think we'll cover up this space in the village here. We know we're going to want to get a lot of other followers, and this will make it easier for us to do so. And of course, this event was the pilgrimage, so there's nothing to resolve at this point. So we will pass that to the Yeti. This round's event will be the plague. The plague can be a rough one. At the end of this round, we're each going to draw 1 follower out of our bag, and that follower leaves our supply. It will go back onto the board here. You don't have to regress on any of the tracks that it came from, so that part's okay, but you do lose that follower out of your bag. Now, if you happen to draw a follower that is one of your start followers that has your color on it, you luck out, that follower action will go back in your bag. You never lose your 4 starting followers. So we'll see what we draw at the end there, but it's always a gamble. And speaking of drawing, the Yeti is still at a draw limit of 4. And we are at 6. Once again, Yeti's draw has left him with the inability to go to the castle. So he's going to do basically a repeat of what he did before. But actually, he's going to make sure his own followers get back into the bag, which will help him give him a little better odds when facing the plague. I think that we are going to go back to the castle. Partly because this will help us get all of our starting followers back into the bag, but it's also going to increase our limit up to 7 when we draw out as well. So we'll do that, and I think we're in a great spot to build another trading station. So Yeti will take his first and only action, which will bring him back to the university. Which will get him a scholar. And a bump up, which would give him 4 more points. Or I'm sorry, 4 more, development points. Which will put him in the 3 category now. And since he crossed over this space, he will get 3 coins from the supply. And now it's to us. We'll go ahead and take our guild hall action. That'll put a trading station right here where our merchant is. The Yeti is out of action, so he passes. And now we can take our castle action, which will give us another knight. And now we'll be able to draw 7 followers. And of course, that is our final action, which brings us to the plague. We'll draw from the Yeti's bag first. And it is... he has lost a traitor. And then we... oh, we lucked out. We've got our craftsman, but it's our starting craftsman, so he goes back in the bag. Starting player moves. And the event for the next round is Pilgrimage, another time when we cannot acquire any monks. Now, one thing to know is every tile that is in this event stack, there are 3 copies of each of those tiles. So I believe that should be the last pilgrimage that we see. Of course, we only saw 1 plague so far, so we're in for a ride. And we're tied on this track, so nobody's going to get any coins. So now we draw. Our draw limit is at 7. And that is exactly the number of spaces we have to store some followers. And 7. Feels like we've got 1 follower left in our bag. The Yeti is still at a draw limit of 4. He's hoping for some better draws this time around. This time around, I'd like to get a place of our own. The Yeti has that tailor shop, which helps get him a brocade whenever he can. And I'd like to get a location of our own. So I think we'll definitely go to the village for that. And we're sitting on 3 of these knights. And kind of how the Yeti was, we don't have a good use for them, and they're sort of taking up some valuable space here. So I think we'll pre-program those and just let them stay out there until they're ready to be used. But that will help free up some draw space or storage space, and then let us draw some other followers. I kind of think that might be all we do. It doesn't feel very efficient, but I'm thinking about queuing up some of these here and sort of pre-programming some more. But if my math is right, we have 1 more follower in the bag, and we're going to be adding 1, 2, 3 more followers into the bag. We have storage space for 4. I think we're only going to be drawing 4, so we might as well leave them out, and then we can decide exactly what we want to do with everybody in the following turn. I don't know if that's a good move, but it's what we're going to try. Yeti has had some difficult draws. He's had a lot of craftsmen and a lot of scholars and not a lot of ways to use either of them. So I think what he's going to do is a little bit of pre-programming as well. Like that. And of course our first action is going to be the village. And we are going to hire a trader, which will advance us there and let us take a level 1 building, or place, I guess they're called. Now for this, again, whenever you take any of these buildings, you are free to go through the entire stack, and you're allowed to go through this stack at any time through the game. But you can go through the stack and take whichever building you would like. I think I want to go with this library. This will let us advance twice on the development track, and that's an important multiplier at the end of the game. So I think we'll grab that and maybe help us make up some lost progress there. Yeti, the only action he has queued up is the town hall. And the town hall, we haven't seen it just yet, but this is how you tap into the beneficial deeds board. So whenever you take the town hall action, you can send 1 or 2 workers to the beneficial deeds board. Now, a few things about this. Number 1, if you want to take the town hall action, you do not need to fill both spaces, but you are allowed to. And then when you activate this action, you can send 1 at a time, or you can send both of them at a time. He's going to send both of these at a time. And you can place them onto any space that will accept the type of characters, the type of followers that you're sending. So in this case, he has 2 scholars, and you can see there are matching scholar spaces here, and these spaces up here can take any type of follower. Now, when you send a follower, you're going to place them on this board, and they're going to stay here permanently for the rest of the game. So it is one way to thin your bag out of if you have an excess of followers you don't need, and a good way to get some benefits out here that might set up some combos or give you a particular benefit that you might need right at that moment. His first scholar is going to go to the town charter. This lets you choose any building or place from the stack 1 or 2. If you have enough advancement on that track, then you can choose from 2, which of course he does. And he's going to choose the bathhouse. This one here allows you, when you're drawing your followers out, you can draw 2 additional above what your current draw limit is. You'll choose one of the followers to keep, and then you have to return 1 follower back to the bag. So he thinks with his low draw limit right now, this might help him out. Now you notice there's a faint farmer outline on the tile there. That is because in the first version of the game, there was a different set of rules for the bathhouse. And then in the second version of the game, they updated what those rules are. He's going to go with the updated rules, which are what we just described. The first version was pretty good too, and the rulebook says you could use either set of rules that you prefer. That first version of this means that you would put down a farmer on this tile, and then you actually could draw 3 followers from your bag, and then immediately choose 2 of those followers to go on to action spaces. So good in its own way. He's going to use it for the updated rules. His second scholar is going to go to navigation, and this will give him a technology wheel, and you'll notice that there are citizens in each of these locations. If you were the one to place the last follower down and fill up a space or a location, you get to take the citizen tile from that spot. But he's placed here, so he's got his technology wheel. I'll place that up there for now. Back to us, and we are out of actions, so we need to pass. That was the Yeti's only action, so he passes, which will allow him to place this technology wheel out. He's going to place it here in the monastery. That should make it easier for him to get monks, and with the last pilgrimage having come out, he will be able to do that without restriction from here on out. And he feels like that thematically makes sense. He committed that scholar there, and it's kind of like permanently placing it out right there. So again, this round's event was a pilgrimage, nothing to resolve here. First player token passes. And this event is Trading Day. This is one of the kind events. You'll gain a coin for every trading station that you have out on the board here. No change on the census, no one's in the lead, no one gets a coin, so we are on to drawing. Yeti's draw limit is still at 4. But he only has 3 in the bag, so he has everything out. Our draw limit is at 7, but we should only have 4 in the bag here. And indeed we do. Yeti will be stopping by the village and tapping into his new cheap monastery. I think we're set up pretty nicely to do a couple of important things here. First, we can build a guild hall. Since we're in a spot that, we can build a trading station since we're in a spot that can take one. And then we can roll out to get to a new location. And I want to start using this library a lot, but I'd like to make it cheaper. We have a handful of knights and 0 scholars at the moment. Now I do plan on doing the university so that we can get scholars and, more importantly, climb up the development track. But we could make this a lot easier if we automate one of the spaces. So with that in mind, I think let's go to the village. We can get another craftsman and a technology token. Now, as a final move, I think we should pre-program this knight over here because our draw limit is 7, and if we don't get that guy out of the way, then we won't have room to draw everything that we're owed. So I think this will help us maximize our draw. Yeti's first action is to visit the village. And for this, he's going to take a trader. And I believe I actually misspoke earlier. He was not at a level 2 to grab level 2 buildings, but that's okay because his bathhouse was a level 1, which incidentally he didn't get to use this turn because he was able to draw the entire contents of his bag, but I'm sure it'll be helpful for him in the future. And then for his building, he's going to go with the wool manufacturer. This is just like the tailor shop, but it's a place where he can get wool instead. And then for us, we'll go ahead and move our wagon right down to here, and we can collect this wool. Next action the Yeti has queued up is the monastery. And for this one, there is no track associated with the monastery. You just simply take a monk and add it into your supply. And once again, monks are wild. And now we can visit the guild hall to build a trading station. So we'll grab that guy. And we'll put it down right there. The Yeti is now out of actions, so he passes. And we can take our village action. We're going to grab a craftsman and a technology tile. Place that there, and all of these will go into the bag. And of course the Yeti has already passed, so it comes back to us. We're out of actions, so we pass. So now we can place this technology right there. And the event for this round again is Trading Day, so we will gain 1 coin for every trading station on the board. The Yeti has none, and we have 3, so we will gain 3 coins. And we have 2 here, so we'll throw a 5 down and put the 2 back. For the next round, the event will be taxes again. So every 3 goods is going to cost us a coin. Our draw limit is at 7. The Yeti's draw limit is still at 4. And then his bathhouse will go off. He gets to draw 2 additional tiles, which actually will empty his bag out. Now, an interesting thing about the bathhouse is the follower that goes back into your bag does not have to be one of the 2 you just drew. It can actually come from all of the followers you've drawn this turn. But as it turns out, he's going to keep these and put back this follower. Looking at our situation here, we want to take the ship action because we're sitting here and we're going to have to take a ship to get out of our city there. But if we commit these 3 to that action, then all we have left are tradesmen and craftsmen. So we wouldn't be able to do anything else. So I don't like that very much. And we really only have 1 boatman. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we go back to the village and get a boatman. And I know for sure we really need to start working on climbing up the development track here. So along with that, maybe we take a trip to the university, get ourselves a scholar and some bumps on that track. Then to make some room for incoming followers, we'll pre-program him there, try to get ourselves a monk here shortly. We know we're going to want to take the ship action, so we'll do that. That'll give us room to fill up on our next draw there. And the Yeti is going to finish off heading to the castle. He's taking another trip to the village, and for this he's going to use his monk, which is wild, and another trip to the monastery. For our first action, think we will go to the village. And we will grab the first the first boatman of the game. When we advance here, that's going to give us 2 coins. The Yeti's first stop will be at the castle. That'll get him a knight, and now he'll be drawing up to 5. Our next stop is the university, where we will get a scholar and an advancement here for 2 spaces on the development track. The Yeti will go to the monastery and pick himself up another monk. And then finally, we will use our library, which is going to give us 2 more bumps on the development track. And then Yeti will visit the village. And for this one, he's going to grab another craftsman, which will give him 1 more technology wheel. Back to us, but we are all out of actions, and so we pass. Goes to the Yeti. He is also all out of action, so he passes, and he will place his technology wheel right there. Resolving our taxes event. Looking at our situation, we have 3 goods, so we're going to owe 1 coin, and the Yeti only has a single good, so he doesn't have to pay any taxes. That moves to the Yeti, and on to the next round's event. This one will be another trading day. Still tied for our census, so no coins handed out there. And now Yeti will be drawing 5 out of his bag. Our draw limit is still 7. Hey, our new boatman came out. Yeti's bathhouse is also going to go off. Almost forgot about that. Those 2 will come out, and he'll return the craftsman back to the bag. He's definitely going to use his knight to be able to build his first guild hall. He's going to visit the castle 1 more time. Scholar to the town hall. And the monk back to the monastery. Now on to us. We are certainly going to take our shipping action so we can travel out of here. We definitely want to keep climbing up the track there, so we'll go to the library. This would be a great time to send the scholar to the monastery. We get ourselves a monk. We don't quite have enough farmers to build a trading station, but I want to be queued up for it as best as we can. And then with these two left, we could go to the farmhouse and get ourselves one of those farmers that we need, but we could also go to the village. And I'm kind of thinking maybe the village, and we can grab another craftsman and maybe automate that position in the guild hall and make it a lot easier to put trading stations out from here on out. And Yeti's start player, so he's going to take his first action. He is going back to the castle, which will get him a knight and increase his draw up to 6 followers. And I think we'll take our first ship movement of the game. So we'll travel along this route here, which will pick us up this wine. Yeti will build his first trading station. And that'll go right here in Orlone. And then we'll take our trip to the village and pick up ourselves another craftsman. These are getting low. And that'll give us a technology wheel. The Yeti is going to send his scholar off to the town hall. Now for this placement, there are no spaces left in particular for scholars, so he's going to send it up to one of these places here, which will take any type of worker. Now the alchemy location lets you draw a new follower out of your bag, and then you can immediately place it into an action space on your board. And if that lets you take an action this round, then you actually basically get another action. And he drew a knight. And since he can't build a guild hall, he'll probably queue that up so he can travel outside of Orlone. And back to us. We'll go to the monastery and get ourselves a monk. That is also what the Yeti will do. Then we will visit the library and advance twice on that track. It's back to the Yeti. He is out of actions, so he passes. It's back to us. We are out of actions, so we pass. And we move into this round's event, which is trading day. So we have 3 trading stations out. Yeti has 1. So Yeti will gain a single coin, and we will gain 3. The next round's event will be income. So again, we will earn income depending on where we are at on the development track. No change here. On to the draw. A Yeti has climbed his way up, so he's now actually drawing 6. And his bathhouse will go off, so he gets to draw 2 more. And given how many craftsmen he has out, he's going to put this one back. I'm just realizing we forgot to put our technology wheel out from the last round, and we were going to plug that in right there. We didn't get any knights, so we can't activate our library, but we can go to the university, and seems like a good time since we'll get paid more money for climbing up the development track. And then I think we'll grab ourselves one more monk. Now, once again, we could do the village or the farmhouse. I would like to climb up the farmer's track so that we could be in the lead for the census. But I'm thinking maybe we go back to the village again and get a tradesman and build another place out here. There's a place that actually will turn scholars into wilds. They're kind of like monks. And that might be good for us because we'll be picking up another scholar and hopefully we can make good use of that. The Yeti knows that he for sure wants to travel. And then he can actually build another guild hall in his new location. Looks like he is going to the farmhouse and activating both of those. For our first trip, we'll go to the village and we'll pick up a trader. And then we are looking for the school. It's a level 2 building, I suppose. There it is. This one lets us treat scholars as if they were wild. The only thing you can't use it for, scholars cannot stand in place of monks. Other than that, you can use them for just about everything else. The Yeti will visit the farmhouse, get himself a farmer and a grain. Then I think we'll go to the university to pick up one of our freshly wilded scholars. And of course, that'll get us 3 bumps on the development track. And the Yeti's going to go ahead and travel. Which will pick him up a brocade. And then we'll build our next trading station. And that'll go right there. And likewise, the Yeti will build his next trading station. Back to us. Our last action will be to get ourselves another monk. right there. The Yeti will activate the tailor shop, which will get him a brocade from the supply. And again, we're out of actions, so we pass. The Yeti's final action will be the wool manufacturer, which will get him 1 wool from the supply. And now he passes. Onto the event, which again is income. We will gain income equal to our development status. We are both currently sitting at 3, so we will each get 3 coins. And we'll make a little change for each of us. This round's event will be taxes again. Tax season. Gotta love it. Okay, we finally have a change on the census here, so the Yeti will gain 1 coin for being in the lead there. Now we draw up, and again, Yeti's draw limit is at 6. And his boathouse will give him the 2 additional. And like last time, he's going to return one of his craftsmen. And it looks like Yeti's going to travel around a little bit. Do a little building. For us, I think our main focus at this point is traveling around, building these trading stations, and trying to climb up the development track. So looking at the board here, we can come down here via wagon or over here via ship. And since we've gotten one of our boatsmen out, although we don't have a farmer. You know what we could do? This might be a little extreme, but maybe it'll work out. We can send him to the beneficial deeds board. And there's a space up here that will let us take the ship action by just sending a boatman out. We'll lose him, but we'll travel here, and then maybe we can just try to stick to the roadways for a little while. So I say we try it. And that'll free us up with some of our other followers to do some other actions, such as build a guild hall or a trading station. And then for this last one, I'm really torn between the castle and the university. I'd like to go to the castle because we're 1 step away from getting this citizen here, and we currently have no citizens, and we really should try to get some of these. And of course, another knight would be good. We won't increase our draw size, but the knight and the citizen would be good. And obviously, it would be good to go to the university so that we can get 5 more bumps on this track. We really want to do both of these things, but I'm thinking maybe it's the wrong move, but let's go to the castle. And with our school ability, we can use the scholar as a farmer. And then maybe we'll queue this tradesman up here for the university next time. Hopefully this plays out. First up for the Yeti is to travel. And he will come down here and collect himself a grain. And then I think we'll do likewise. We'll go ahead and send our boatman to the beneficial deeds board, which will give us a shipping action. And we'll come across here to get ourselves a brocade. The Yeti's next turn is to build himself a trading station. Right there. Back to us, we're going to follow suit and build our own trading station. And that's it for the Yeti this round. He is out of actions. And we only have one more ourselves. We will visit the castle, which will get us a knight. And our first citizen. Yay! Now on to the event and lovely taxes. Every 3 goods is going to cost us a coin. And so for us, we've got 2, 4, 5. So we'll only owe 1 coin. And the Yeti has 3, 5, 6. So he owes 2 coins. All right. It looks like we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more rounds left. Our next event is another trading day. Every trading station will give us a coin. Then on to the census. Yeti will gain a coin. And now we draw. Zooming in on the Yeti, I just realized we accidentally overlooked this craftsman from the last round. That brown blended right in. I didn't see him. He was hiding in the bushes or the mud. But that's okay. He'll catch up this round. We'll use him this round. But for his bathhouse draw, he's going to send back that craftsman. Well, we know what we're trying to do. We want to climb up that track, so we can put those there. If we want to travel, we'll have to stick to the roadways, and so we could use our scholar as a farmer again. And then we would have just enough to build another guild hall over there. Okay. The Yeti will be doing something similar. I think he'll just leave that monk there to be used next round. Our first move, we will travel with our wagon, and we'll move down to here, which will give us a grain. Yeti will travel via ship, which will give him a grain as well. We'll build our next trading station. And that'll leave us with 4 left to get out. And then Yeti's trading station. Our final action will be to hit up the university, get ourselves a scholar and some bumps, some much needed bumps up the track. So we'll get 4 there. And of course, when we crossed that threshold there, that gave us 4 coins. So I think we'll just put ourselves another 5 down there and take that one back. And Yeti is going to make up for what he should have done last time. So he's going to send this craftsman out to the beneficial deeds board, and he's going to go to architecture. Trade this in here, and that will get him another citizen. We are out of actions, and so we're going to pass. And Yeti still has a couple actions left. He can do the tailor shop and the wool manufacturer, which will get him a brocade and a wool. And that's it for the Yeti. Our event is Trading Day. So we have 6 trading stations. The Yeti has 4. There's our 6. And I'll make some change here. The Yeti gets 4, but he's also going to make a little bit of change. Moving into the next round, the event for that one will be a harvest. Okay, so that's going to be, we need to pay 1 food good or lose 5 coins. Yeti is up on the census, so he will gain another coin. He's at 6, we're at 7. So we draw up. Now, one thing about the bathhouse, we didn't explicitly state this, but you are allowed to draw over your storage limit with the bathhouse's ability. But by the end, you need to have removed enough followers that you can store all of them. So in this case, he will be fine. And following his same pattern, I think he's going to get rid of this craftsman. Well, we got some wilds and some knights. Unfortunately, we drew this boatman here, and I don't know that he's going to be very helpful for us. We need to travel out of here if we're going to be able to build another trading station. So I think we will at least queue up a travel with our wagon, and then we could build our next trading station. And with this guy, we might as well activate the library. I would love to send off the boatman to the beneficial deeds board, but this is our personal boatman, and you can never get rid of your the 4 starting personal followers. Those ones you can never get rid of by any means in the game. So we're kind of stuck with him. I don't know that we have a great use for him, but this will still be good. And Mr. Yeti he's going to sail away. Use his ship. Build another trading station. And continue his whole operation over here. I think our first action should be to wagon our way across town here. We'll come down to there, which will get us a cheese. I figure since we might be kind of competing in this area with the Yeti, now we'll move first before we do anything else. Speaking of, that is exactly what the Yeti's going to do as well. He'll move his ship along this route here, and that'll get him some wool. Back to us, and we'll get another trading station going. And it's like a mirror match. Yeti's also building out his trading station. The only action we have left is to visit the library here, which get us a couple more bumps up the track over here. But we've now hit level 4, so that's good. Yeti will activate the tailor shop, getting him a brocade. And we are out of actions, so we will pass. The Yeti has 1 action left for the wool manufacturer. And then we go to our event, which of course is the harvest. So we're each going to need to give up a food good. And in fact, we both have a grain that we can give up. It's the best one to give up because it is worth the least amount of points. Again, grain is only worth 1, so might as well give those up. Those will go back into the market. First player passes, and we are down to 4 more rounds. Oh, we got another harvest. Back-to-back harvest. Yeti will get his coin. And as usual, he's returning the craftsman. I don't know if we're going to be able to do all of our usual stuff we'd like to do. So we'll see what we can queue up. I think for sure we want to hit the university up because that'll give us some big climbs on the development track. We can't build until we move, and so we will... Oh dear, we don't have enough wilds. We got a lot of knights out, so we can put that there. Ooh, there is a risky move that we could do. We could queue up this wagon movement and be one short. And then the risk is we could send this knight off to the beneficial deeds board and draw an extra follower out of our bag and hope that we draw a monk, a scholar, or the tradesman himself and complete this. It's a risk, but hey, let's try it. We'll see. Nothing risk, nothing gained. The Yeti is traveling. Building and manufacturing. And given how many times he's sent craftsmen back to the bag, he's going to send that to the board. And he is the start player, so he'll begin by moving his wagon out. He'll travel over to there, which will give him a cheese. And then to us. I think our first stop is going to be the university. That's going to do a couple things for us. Obviously, it'll gain us another scholar. It'll get us 5 more bumps on this track, which gains us our second citizen. And now the other nice thing is we're putting back a couple of scholars and the tradesmen back into our bag. So when we send this knight off to the beneficial's deeds board, there'll be a few more options to pull from out of that bag that will hopefully complete our wagon there. The Yeti will put out his next trading station, which will go right there. Back to us, and the moment of truth. We will send him off to the alchemy location. And let's see what we get. Oh, hey, all right. The gamble paid off. We can put him right there. Back to the Yeti. He'll do his wool manufacturing. It's us. Now we will travel. And let's head off this way. That'll also pick us up another wool. The Yeti's final action is to send this craftsman out to the beneficial deeds board. And he's going to send it up to sheep farming, which will get him some wool. Back to us, and our last action is to activate the library for 2 more bumps on the development track, and that will get us to level 5. The Yeti is out of actions, so he passes. We are out of actions, so we pass. And now the harvest goes off. We're going to each need to pay a good. The Yeti has a grain, so he's going to get rid of that. Ours, cheapest thing that we have is the cheese, so we will lose that. All right. Next event is income. We will gain coins equal to our development status level. Yeti will get his coin. All right, let's see what we get. As much as he would love to send that boatman back, who's just clogging up space, he's going to send a farmer back. Well, we know we for sure want to build a trading station. I'll get that lined up. Ideally, we should move along after that. And we don't have enough. We're close, but we don't have quite enough to activate the university. We could queue it up for next time, or we could hit the library up. We need one more activation here and one more activation of our library, and we would reach the very end of the track. But I'm a little nervous about whether or not we can get that done. We'll have to see what we draw. But with that said, maybe we'll go ahead and get the library out of the way. We'll queue him up at the university. So hopefully over the next couple of rounds we can get all of it done. Looks like the Yeti's finally going to get his boatman out of the queue and off to do some good work. He will also visit the university. And for the first time in the game, we'll see the scriptorium go off. Well, our first action needs to be the guild hall to get our trading station out. That way, we can roll out and leave our trading station behind. The Yeti's first move, likewise, will be to set sail and cruise on up to here, which will collect him a wine. Now, we can roll out the wagon and move on over to here, which will collect us a fresh wool. Back to the Yeti, he's going to visit the university and get himself some much needed bumps on the track here. So he will collect a scholar and get 5 advancements. And of course, that'll get him 4 coins as well. The only action that we have left is the library. which will simply move us up twice right there. And now the Yeti will visit the scriptorium, which will give him a single bump on that same track. But that single bump is very important because it takes him to level 4. And now we're out of actions, we pass. The Yeti is out of actions, he passes. And our income event will go off. We'll get coins equal to our level. The Yeti is currently at a level of 4, so he'll take a 5. We are at a level 5, so we'll take a 10 and put the 5 back. Second to last round in our event will be the plague. So again, we'll draw a follower out of our bag at the end of the round and lose that, unless it, of course, it is one of our personal followers. Yeti will get his coin for the census. And now we draw up. Oh, I am just now realizing that a few rounds ago, we accidentally hung on to the first player marker, and we were first player 2 rounds in a row, and that shouldn't have happened. Now, fortunately, as best as I can tell, none of that affected the way that our play went. There wasn't anything I did that blocked Yeti or took anything from him, so I think we're okay there, but for these last 2 rounds of the game, Yeti will just hang on to that first player marker. And now into the draw. He doesn't see much use for the boatman at this time, so that will go back to the bag. And now our 7. He's going to queue up the wagon and a guild hall action. And both of those there. For us, we definitely want to visit the university. That should finish off the track for us. And we're in a position to build, so we might as well queue that up as well. And it's a match made in heaven. It's perfect alignment there. First thing the Yeti's going to do is send this craftsman to the alchemy center to see what else he can draw. And he got a monk. He's going to put that right there. Now to us, our first action will be to build another trading station. That'll go right there. Yeti's second action is to send his farmer off to the same spot. That doesn't really help him much. Back to us, we will move our wagon, and we'll come right up here, which will collect us a cheese. The Yeti is also going to roll his wagon out, which will move him up there and get him a grain. We'll take our university visit, which will get us a scholar, and most importantly, last bump on this track, which will get us all the way to the top. 5 coins for passing that, and a citizen. So that was a pretty good move for us. Yeti is building his trading station. And back to us, but that's it for our actions, so we pass. On to Yeti. He's got 1 action left to visit the tailor shop, which will get him the last brocade from the supply. So we've passed. The Yeti is done with his actions. He will pass. And now the plague strikes again. So let's see who we lose. It's a farmer. Okay. Not so bad for us. And the Yeti. He loses a scholar. All right, again, the first player marker he's just going to hang on to, which brings us into the final round. The final round, oh, it's a back-to-back plague, but you know what? That's really not going to matter because we don't need followers by the end of the game. So not a bad time for that to come out. Census track, Yeti is still in the lead. And he's going to return his personal farmer. Looks like he will queue up a wagon movement. a guild hall build. Actually, he's going to swap it like that. Well, we know for sure we want to build our last trading station. And since we got our boatman out, might as well sail the high seas. And then I think we'll probably send these guys off and see if we can either get some benefits or do some swapping around. We'll see what we see. The Yeti, seeing that we are also going to be setting a tradesman to the beneficial deeds board, he's going to beat us out there because he would like that brocade. And since there's no rush for either of these actions, let's send our scholar out to the beneficial deeds board. And again, the only place we can place him out here is in the alchemy station. So let's just draw and see what we get. Here we go. It's another one of these guys. So actually, we're just going to rinse and repeat that. We can place them right down and we'll send it back out here in a future turn. Yeti is going to move his wagon right there to collect another brocade. All right, let's try it again. We'll send this guy out. It's another scholar. Yeti is going to build his final trading station. And back to us. Let's do it again. We'll send him out. And this time, we'll do alchemy again, but it's going to complete this section, so we're going to get to claim this citizen token that was up there. So one more citizen, and let's see who else we draw. That's another scholar. Actually, we can't send him there because there's nowhere to place him now that we've filled up all of those spaces. There's actually nowhere really to place him that'll be helpful, so we'll just stick him wherever. And Yeti's final action of the game is going to be his wool manufacturer, which is going to get him one more wool from the supply. Now it's back to us. And we can go ahead and sail the ship. We will come down here, which will get us a brocade. And of course, the Yeti is out of actions, so he passes. Back to us, and we will build our final trading station of the game. And that'll go right there. Then we'll send our tradesman out to the beneficial deeds board. And for this one, send it to architecture and claim a citizen token. And that's it. That's our final action. So we pass. We go into the final event, which is the plague. And again, there's no need to resolve that because at the end of the game, the contents of your bag don't matter. They don't factor into endgame scoring, so there's no need to go through the motions of that. So now we do move into final scoring. And just before you go into final scoring, there is one last citizen tile that is available. And this citizen tile goes to the player who has built the most trading stations. So since we have gotten all 10 of ours out, this citizen will go into our supply. So now we move into final scoring. And again, final scoring is going to be all of the goods that we've collected, all the coins that we've accumulated, and then all of our trading stations plus our citizen tiles multiplied by the level that we are on the development track. So first up, we will do our goods. And again, for goods, grain is worth 1, cheese is worth 2 points, wine is 3, wool is 4, brocades are worth 5 points. So for us, we had 0 grain, we had 1 cheese, 1 wine, 4 wool, and 3 brocade. So that is a total of 36 points. The Yeti, he had 2 grain, 1 cheese, 1 wine, a total of 7 wool, and a total of 8 brocade. So that gives him a total of 75 points for his goods. Next up is coins, and the Yeti has 30 coins, which will be worth 30 points. And we have a total of 36 coins for 36 points. Bringing our current totals up to, we have 72, the Yeti has 105. And the final category is our trading stations plus our citizen tiles multiplied by our level on this track here. Now the Yeti has 8 of his trading stations out and 2 citizens. So 8 plus 2 is 10 multiplied by 4. So he'll get a total of 40 points. We have all 10 of our trading stations out. And we have 6 citizen tiles. So that is 16 multiplied by 6 for a total of 96 points. So the grand total for the Yeti is 75 points in goods, 30 points in coins, and 40 points in trading stations, citizens, and track, for a grand total of 145 points. We had 36 points in goods, 36 points in coins, and 96 points in our trading stations, citizens, and track, for a grand total of 168. So we've done it. We've bested the Yeti. We were pushing hard to get our trading stations out and to climb up this track, and that definitely paid out pretty well. Looks like the Yeti was pushing hard on trying to collect goods and rack up points that way. And there were definitely a few rounds there back to back where the Yeti had some rough draws. He kept getting craftsmen out and sort of stalled a little bit. So if he had had a little bit different draws, then who knows, maybe he could have had a little bit more momentum, or maybe the goods route just wasn't as lucrative for him. But either way, we came out on top, and more than anything, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough and it gives you a sense of how this game plays. There are a lot of strategies, a lot of routes that you could take, and what you might chase after and sort of engine build with inside your bag there. But if you have questions or comments about the playthrough, please leave that down below. I'd love to hear feedback from you. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on our next expedition.